It wasn't that long ago, and I am old enough to remember when Lindsey Graham was predicting riots in the streets if Trump is prosecuted. This was Lindsey Graham in his "I'm a big boy, I can make big threats" mode. And he's talking about riots, he's predicting civil war. How dare you come after Donald Trump? And then he got a lot of criticism, because that's insane. That is encouraging violence. It certainly doesn't seem to have a problem with violence. And so he was criticized, including from Joe Biden. Listen to this.
By the way, no one expects politics to be a patty cake. It sometimes gets mean as hell. But the idea you turn on the television and see senior senators and congressmen saying, if such and such happens, there'll be blood in the street. Where the hell are we?
Well, unfortunately, where we're at is in America. But in America, where Lindsey Graham is doing a bit of backtracking. You know what he said. We played it on the show. We just showed it in that graphic. Take a look at how he tries to explain away the concerns.
Yeah, so what I said Sunday was I reject violence, but I also reject a double standard here. So if they try to prosecute President Trump for mishandling classified information after the Clinton debacle, when she was Secretary of State, people in this country will lose faith in law enforcement.
Okay, lose faith in law enforcement is miles away from riot in the streets. And not only did you not say, I reject violence, but one of the worst things to say is, I reject violence, but, which you did say right there. You didn't say I reject violence a couple days ago. You predicted violence in the streets, but here you said, I reject violence, but something, something, Hillary and Bill. That's bad. You're not really rejecting violence if a little bit of whataboutism is all it takes to get you to a point where I reject it, but you know what, sometimes it's necessary.
Insanity. Listen, so this is one of those things where I would love to heard how they tried to figure out how to backpedal correctly on this by still not giving up the point that you were trying to make, so the MAGA won't be mad at you, and most importantly, that Donald Trump will not be mad at you for this. It doesn't really work. It just makes people talk about more of the stupid things that you said, by the way. So he starts by what I had said was my bad, was this. They're gonna lose faith in law enforcement is his new tweak of his point. They're gonna lose faith in law enforcement. You know who lost faith in law enforcement? All those folks who got to protesting during 2020. In fact, they had lost faith in law enforcement decades before that and been pointing it out over and over and over again. Now Lindsey Graham is concerned about people in America losing faith in law enforcement, but for Donald Trump, not because they're murdering people in the streets, not because they indiscriminately shoot black and brown people at higher rates than anyone else, not because of the incarceration rate and judges and the judicial system and all that's stacked up against certain people, not because of any of that, because of Donald Trump. And by the way, once people told you how fed up they were with law enforcement and how things need to be different in the country, and they took to the streets. You know what Lindsey Graham said? That they're criminals, arrest them. What's wrong with them? Everything that they're grieving about is actually not true. How much does he really care about people losing faith in law enforcement? Or is it just certain people that look a certain way and follow a certain politician? That's his point.
Yeah, it doesn't care if they lose faith. Yeah, no, they'll lose faith if a rich guy who definitely committed the crimes and definitely knew that he was breaking the law and definitely tried to cover it up, if he suffers any consequences, then they'll lose faith. That's madness. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/thedamagereport. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.